I am 87, and I want to tell you about the 6 things I lent out. Not given. Lent. There is a difference, and I did not learn it until my hands were too old to take anything back. Every one of them came back to me. That is the part people do not expect when I tell it. Nobody stole from me, nobody ran off, every single one came back. But not one of them came back the same. I counted them at my table this winter, 6 of them. And when I was finished, I did not feel cheated, and I did not feel wise. I felt honest, maybe for the first time in a long while. Come sit down a while. Pull the chair close, the way you would to a fire that has burned low and still has heat in it. I am not telling you to close your hand. I am not telling you that people are thieves. Most of them are not. Most of them love you. And I am not telling you to stop being generous, because generosity is the only thing I have ever seen outlast a man. What I am telling you is smaller and harder than any of that. After a certain age, some things you hand over do not have a road home. They come back. They just do not come back as themselves. My grandmother had a saying she used on me when I was small, and had given my only knife to a boy who never brought it back. She did not scold me. She said, "What you lend goes down the river, and the river always gives it back, but the river gets its say first." I did not understand that for 60 years. My grandfather said it shorter, the way he said everything. He said, "Lend nothing you would grieve to receive back from a stranger's hand." Those 2 sayings are the whole spine of what I want to give you tonight. Everything I lent came back. And the river had its say in every one of them. 6 times I found that out. And the 6th time is the one I am not proud of, so I will tell you that one last. That arithmetic waits for you too, and it does not send a letter first. The first confession is my grandfather's adze. It is a hand tool, older than my father, the handle dark where 3 generations of palms wore it down. A young man from down the road was building a shed and asked to borrow it. 2 months. He was careful with it. He oiled it. He brought it back cleaner than I gave it. And I set it on the bench and I could not pick it up again the same way. It had become a tool, that is all. Somewhere in those 2 months it stopped being my grandfather's hand and started being a thing that cuts wood. My grandmother's river had done exactly what she said it would. Take a stone out of the shallows and set it in the current for a season. It comes back to you. It is still a stone. It is not the same stone. The water took the corners my grandfather put there. I never lent a tool again. Not because I turned mean, because some things carry a man inside them, and the borrowing wears him out. Before the second confession, I set the old sayings down in writing. It is called The Native Way, and the link sits in the description below this video. It is not a course, it is not a program. It is the grandmother sayings and the grandfather sayings, the ones I have been carrying in my pockets for 87 years, written plain, so they do not die in my kitchen. I did that for one reason. What I lend goes down the river. What I write down goes to my grandchildren, and to yours, and a page does not come back changed. My daughter asked me once what I was leaving. I told her the land is small and the money is smaller, but this is the part of me that can be handed down without wearing thin. Open it or do not open it. No pressure at all from me. I am here at this fire either way, and I will be here tomorrow whether you ever turn a single page. Now, the second confession, and this one I have never told straight through to anybody. The second confession is money, and I am going to tell it as a family story, not as advice, because I am no man's banker, and never was. My sister's boy came to me 11 years ago. He was in a hole. I had it, and I gave it, and I called it a loan, because that word let him keep his back straight walking out my door. He never paid it. I never asked. I want you to hear what I lost, because it was not the money. The money I forgot inside a year. What I lost was the boy. He stopped coming at Christmas. He stopped answering when I called. He did not owe me anything I would have collected, and still, that debt sat in the room between us and made him too ashamed to sit down. My grandmother said, "Never plant your seed corn where you cannot bear to watch it fail." She meant it about the field. It is truer about people. Seed corn eaten in the cold month feeds you a week and leaves you nothing to put in the ground come spring. I fed him one winter and lost every spring after. The third confession is my truck, and a man I will call Samuel. Samuel farmed the place east of mine, 9 harvests running. He came up the drive in October and asked for the truck, and 9 times I handed him the keys. He always brought it back. He always filled the tank. The first year he shook my hand at the gate and said he would not have got the crop in without me. The 9th year he did not knock. He took the keys off the nail inside my kitchen door, and when he was done, he parked it and went home, full of fuel, empty of thanks. Now hear me, Samuel was not a bad man. He was a busy one, and I had made myself into weather. Nobody thanks the rain. You just plan around it and get cross when it does not come. My grandfather said, "A favor done twice is a favor. Done 9 times it is a fence post, and no man thanks a fence post for standing." That is what a Lent thing does over years. It stops being a gift and turns into the landscape. The 4th confession is not a thing at all. It is my Saturdays. For a long stretch of years, my Saturdays belonged to whoever asked first, a ride to the clinic in town, a porch step that needed rebuilding, a grandson who wanted the lawn done and had a game at noon. I loved it. I want that on the record. A man of 78 with somewhere to be on Saturday morning is a rich man. But there came a Saturday when I said I could not, and the silence on the other end of that telephone was not disappointment. It was correction. I had not refused a favor. I had broken a schedule. That is the day I understood I had lent out my time so long that it had been rezoned. It was theirs. I was a trespasser in my own week. My grandmother said, "The leaf does not argue when the wind takes it, but it only gets the one autumn." That is the piece nobody warns you about at my age. A dollar comes back around. A truck comes back around. Saturday does not come back around. There are only so many left, and none of them are on order. The 5th confession is the one that cost the most and weighed the least when I handed it over. I lent my name. A man I will call Eli needed work. I knew his mother. I knew his handshake. I did not know him. I knew about half of him, and I told the shop foreman the other half anyway, because it is easy to be generous with something that has no weight in your hand. Eli lasted 4 months and left with what was not his. Nobody at that shop ever said a word to me about it. That is the part I want you to sit with. Nothing was ever said. But for 2 years I felt something cool in the way men greeted me at the counter. And I could not point at it. And I could not fix it. Because you cannot go around town collecting back a thing that has no edges. My grandfather said, "Smoke goes where the wind wants, not where the hand points." My name went out of my mouth like smoke. It came back to me all right. It came back thinner and smelling of somebody else's fire. And now the 6th confession. I have put it last, because I would rather not say it at all. The 6th thing I lent out was my own last year's. Not all at once, a piece at a time, the way you hand out firewood. Understand how it happens. Nobody asks an old man for his years. They ask for a Saturday. They ask for a ride, a signature, a spare room for a while, a hand with the move. Each one is small. Each one is easy to say yes to. And you say yes because being needed at 80 is the sweetest thing there is, and because the day you say no is the day you find out how quickly the phone learns to stay quiet. But I counted this winter, and here is my arithmetic. I gave away most of a decade in pieces the size of an afternoon. My grandmother had one more saying, and it took me 87 years to earn it. She said, "The man who hands out the last of his firewood in the coldest month is not generous. He is just cold in a way that arrives later." I am in that later, now. And it came back to me. My time, every hour of it came back. At the end, as this evening, and this chair, and a house I am sitting in alone. Now I have to say the other half, or I have told you a lie by leaving it out. Naming these 6 was not the same as hating myself for them. It took me most of a year to learn the difference, and I want to hand it to you already learned. A man who lends too much is not a fool. He is a man who was raised by people who lent, in a place where nobody survived alone. That instinct kept my family alive through winters that would have finished us otherwise. I do not want it out of me. I would not know who I was without it. But an instinct is a behavior. It is not a name I have to wear until they bury me. I can love the generosity and still put a hand on it. I can notice on a Tuesday that I am about to hand over another Saturday, and I can take one breath before I answer. That is all this is. not a wall, a breath. The pine on my north fence bends the whole winter and does not break, and it does not apologize for bending, and it does not stay bent in the spring. I am not ashamed of the 6. I am just done being surprised by them. So let me gather this up for you now, the way my grandmother gathered the ends of her shawl. An adze that came home a tool, money that came home as a nephew who will not sit at my table, a truck that came home full of fuel and empty of thanks, Saturdays that came home as an expectation, a name that came home thinner, and 10 years that came home as one quiet evening in a chair. 6 things lent, 6 things returned. Not one of them returned as itself. Now turn it toward your own house. What is out on loan from you tonight? Whose calendar is your Saturday sitting on? Is there a name of yours walking around a town you have not visited in years? And when the phone rings tomorrow with a small ask in it, is that ask small, or has it just been small 9 times in a row? You do not have to answer me. Answer the kitchen you are sitting in. I know what some of you are asking, because I asked it at this same table. Is it too late for me? I will not lie to an old friend. I cannot promise you that the nephew comes back to the table, or that anybody ever says the thank you that is owed. I do not have that to give. Here is what I do have. Whatever else these years took from me, they left me the ability to notice one thing and to make one ordinary choice about it. That did not leave with my knees, and it will not leave with yours. One noticing, one choice. That is the whole inheritance, and it is enough to be going on with. Now, I would like to hear from you. Of the 6, which number landed closest to your own house? The tool, the money, the truck, the Saturdays, the name, or the years? Put the number down in the comments and tell me what it was you lent. I read them all, every night, in this chair. And then come back and sit with me tomorrow. The fire will be going, and I'm not going anywhere. Rest well, my friend. The old ones are still here, and so am I.